Welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to a live Manchester United news, transfer news and update show. Now, Cunha is here we go. We got the Cunha, here we go, yesterday. And we know that Manchester United's goal was to get 2 signings done by early June. They're working on their second move. We know that Manchester United want 2 number 10s. We know that they want a striker. We know that they want to get 2 attacking additions in by early June. Cunha is done. Medical should be this week. It's just pending some final details. We're going to pay the Cunha deal over 3 years and 20.7 million installments. But more reports coming out that Manchester United are working on a move for Mbeumo. Mbeumo's price tag, because he's got 1 year left on his deal, is £50 million. It's a 50 million deal for Bryan Mbeumo. What a bargain. United working on the move. Personal terms will not be an issue, was reported by Sully yesterday. Other people now getting on the Mbeumo news. Apparently, he's not, even though we finished 16th and we're crap, he's open to the move. Cunha chose Man United over better teams, and Mbeumo is open to the move. And look, Cunha and Mbeumo is the start of fixing Man United. We still need 7 signings, but Cunha and Mbeumo would be a great start to that. So we're going to talk about all the Cunha news. We're going to talk about all the Mbeumo news. We've got updates on Garnacho. United wants 60 million, 50 million looking more likely. Antony has a 30 to 35 million price tag. Real Betis want him, but Juventus and Atletico Madrid are in there. Antony pushing for exit. United in a strong bargaining position for Antony due to interest there, which is good. Saudi's offer for Bruno Fernandes is £100 million. He's got to make a decision in the coming days. We're going to dive into all of the stories as well. Chelsea apparently winning the race for Delap, but then a couple hours ago it said that Man United were winning the race for Delap. So I think it's media guesswork. United looking at goalkeepers in case they sell Onana. Casemiro could be sold. United want to offload the whole squad. La-di-la-di-la-di-la-di-la. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your Manchester United news, transfer news and update roundup. We're going to round up all the latest Manchester United transfer news in this show. A lot of people are talking about Joan Garcia. We haven't been linked to him credibly, but we've been linked to him by all right sources, and he's been linked to a lot of Premier League clubs because he's got a 21 million clause and he's seen as the next big keeper. Apparently, it came out today that he wants Premier League. He wants Premier League and he rejected Barcelona. But I don't know if that's because Espanyol are rivals of Barcelona, so why would he go there? Apparently, he wants the Premier League. Apparently. So, big boost in that sense, but I think he will go. I could see him going to Newcastle or Arsenal, but Arsenal don't need him. This is Arsenal. They've signed Subamende. They'll sign Joan Garcia. They tried to sign Højsund. Mate, Arsenal, you need a striker. What are you doing? Get a striker. Do you know what I mean? Anyway. Right, let's get into the news. Sorry, I was just reading a few chats. Alejandro Garnacho closing an amazing move to Atleti. I've not heard that anywhere, but I'll keep an eye out for Alejandro Garnacho stories. Breaking, Napoli and Atleti prepared to pay 50 million plus for Garnacho. Let me know where you're getting that from, because I haven't seen that report anywhere. So, what was said today? So we're going to start with what was said by Rich Fay. Man United could use the money of selling Garnacho to buy Mbeumo from Brentford. Boom. Ruben Amorim is targeting 2 attacking midfielders to reshape United's front line. We know that from the Muppeteers. We know that from every reliable source. We know that. Cunha is lined up and Mbeumo is seen as the ideal partner. Laurie Whitwell's linked us to Mbeumo. Very good source of information. Muppeteers have linked us to Mbeumo. They've all said we want 2 number 10s. We know from credible sources of information Mbeumo is on the list. Cunha was the focus. Cunha is done. The other players on the list for attacking additions include Semenyo, Mbeumo, Osimhen, Delap, and Gyökeres. If we're to listen to Laurie Whitwell, who's probably the best source of information if it comes to just a Manchester United exclusive journalist. Romano and David Ornstein are sort of across the clubs, whereas Laurie Whitwell is Manchester United Pacific. Now, the good thing about Mbeumo is he's got 1 year left on his deal, which means Brentford won't ask for about 70 million, which is probably what he's worth. Right now, Mbeumo would be 50 million. What a bargain. 50 million Mbeumo deal is a bargain. So, of course, Manchester United are all over that. Manchester United are in a position where personal terms aren't going to be an issue. Mbeumo is essentially, apparently, open to the move. And they can get a player of Mbeumo's quality, which is exactly what they want, exactly what Ruben Amorim wants, for £50 million. £50 million for Mbeumo. 50 million. I mean, I think surely it's got to be 55. I know he's got 1 year left on his deal. But, like, people don't understand how good of a deal that is. Like, I almost think that we needed to get Cunha because we need a left-sided player more with Ahmad. But, like, I think low-key, Mbeumo is a better player than Cunha. I just think Cunha is the guy we need a little bit more because of Mount's injuries. But I'm going to tell you why this is an amazing signing. Let me just have a swig of water. People are asking how credible is Rich Fay. I think he's pretty credible. You know, he doesn't just say something for the sake of it or say something for the sake of clicks. You get some journalists that put a story about United out every week because they just want to say something that clicks, whereas Rich Fay is like, he might not put something out, you know, until like a month's time, but he'll make sure what he puts out, he's checked. So I think Rich Fay is a good source of information, but we also know from Laurie Whitwell, who's a good source of information, we're in for Mbeumo. We know from Sully, who's a good source of information, that we're in for Mbeumo and personal terms isn't an issue. So yeah. We will talk about Rashford in a second, a few stories coming out. We will talk about the number 9, but I want to talk about Mbeumo. So, Mbeumo for 50 million is a must, and you might be asking why. He's 25, he's entering his prime, he's just delivered 20 goals. I meant to say 20 goals for Brentford, but I said 20 goal contributions for Brentford this season. I meant to say he's just delivered 20 goals for Brentford this season. So he's 25, he's entering his prime, and he's got 20 goals for Brentford this season. He's first for expected assists in the league, according to the stat metric I checked, and he's second in the league for ground coverage. So not only has he got 20 goals, but he's first for expected goal contributions in the league. He has 27 goal contributions this season, but I meant to put 20 goals. Didn't read it through. These aren't just one-off numbers either. You got 16 goal contributions in 22 starts last season, 17 goal contributions in 22-23, where he did play more games, so he got a bit of an injury last season. But still, 16 goal contributions, 22 starts. That's 3 consistent Premier League seasons. It's not he's a one-season wonder this season. He's been consistent 3 seasons in the league. He's a good player. He's proven it. He's hardworking, he's versatile, and he's perfect for Amorim's system. I'm seeing so many people saying, oh, he's a right winger. He likes to hold the touchline. BS. He's so much better in the half space, which is what Ruben Amorim wants in his player. What is he going to bring? He's going to bring strong ball carrying, which is what Ruben Amorim wants in the 10. Excellent movement at the half space, quality dribbling, good finisher, good ball striker, pressing. And look, he makes smart runs. If Bruno stays, Bruno's going to feed those runs. He can combine with Ahmad at right wing back. It's very good. While he plays wide for Brentford, his best work comes in more central zones because he's very technically secure. He uses his body well to turn out of the press and dangerous situations. He's good at navigating tight spaces. He obviously is known for cutting in on his left foot, having a good shot, creating something, but he's a multi-phase threat. He's a complete forward. And with Garnacho and Rashford leaving, we need someone that's direct, and Mbeumo is direct. You know, Cunha is somewhat direct, but Mbeumo is definitely more direct. So Mbeumo would be ideal. And look, 27 goal contributions this season. For context, that would be 62% of our total goals. Now, look, obviously different team, blah, blah, blah. So if we've got 44 goals all season and we're signing a player that contributed to 27, like, that's, like, people don't understand. That's ridiculous. Like, he's had an unbelievable season. He is an unbelievable player, you know. Look, I think he could go to Newcastle. I still believe that there could be something with Newcastle going on. I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's all, oh, we've got Cunha, we're going to get Mbeumo now because, you know, if we get Delap, are we going to have the funds to do Cunha and Mbeumo Delap early before selling anyone? I don't know. But it's, you know, it's, of course, Man United are looking at this. People are saying, well, United have the funds for this. United probably realised this competition, they got to move early. But, you know, when Sully said personal terms won't be a problem, well, that's a massive update in itself. That's saying the player's open to the move. You know, understand Man United have serious interest in him. You know, we've inquired about a deal and conditions, and that was confirmed today. So Sully put this out last night, and about 3 sources are confirmed today. We've inquired about an Mbeumo deal. They're saying, like, don't get too excited yet because nothing's concrete. But there's a lot of interest in him. But, you know, he's not going to turn us down if we went and gave him what he wanted, unless there was another team, another project he thought was better. So, you know, that's a big positive story in itself in regards to Mbeumo. Has to be a ready-made 9 option, 100%. For me, Cunha and Mbeumo in a ready-made 9 option is needed. Rashford will return to United after his loan at Villa. He will be available for 40 million. That is correct. Mbeumo would be a top signing. It would be. It's not a risk, you know. some people are being negative about Mbeumo, saying get Cherky, but Mbeumo brings the work rate and intensity. Ruben Amorim wants players that can do his physical demands. And while Cherky's fantastic, that is a risk. With Mbeumo, you know he can do the physical demands. Now, the big question is, well, how are United going to get Mbeumo and Cunha? They've just got Cunha. How are they going to afford Mbeumo? The thing is that people don't realise is Manchester United will be bringing in 3 good attackers because we're losing 4 or 5. I say good attackers. That could be an overstatement. But we're losing Antony, we're losing Rashford, we're losing Garnacho, and we're losing Sancho. So to replace those players, we will be looking at Cunha and Mbeumo. People are going, we've gone for Cunha, we've gone for Mbeumo. People would think it's like greed. But United know Garnacho was gone and Rashford is gone. And whether you like Garnacho or Rashford, this time last year, if we'd have lost Garnacho and Rashford, we'd have been like, oh my God, we're cooked. We'd have been like, we're cooked because they were 2 of our best wingers a year and a half ago. So what I'm saying is, Rashford and Garnacho are gone, and Antony's gone. We're going to lose 3 players that were here this season at the start of this season. Sancho, we already knew was going to go, but that's 4 wingers. So 4 wingers have gone. So Cunha and Mbeumo is the bare minimum. Cunha and Mbeumo is the bare minimum because we're losing 4 wingers. And then if we lose Højlund, we might need 2 strikers. At least we need 1 with Højlund staying. So there's 4 definite attacking exits. Højlund could be 5. So of course we're going to be signing 2 10s, and of course we're going to be signing a striker, and that's where the funds is coming from. The question is, will United have to sell Rashford or Garnacho first to afford it? Apparently Manchester United can afford to spend up to £100 million-ish without any sales. We'll have to wait and see. But that's why we are getting lots of attackers. That's why because we know we're losing a lot of attackers. And we need a lot of attackers. It makes sense. I still think with 4 wingers leading, and Mbeumo Cunha's great, but I think we need a wing back. I think we need a real attacking-minded wing-back. So Mbeumo Cunha and a real attacking-minded wing-back, I think, is what we need to fix that. I also think, yes, I think a striker. For me, striker, 2 10s in Mbeumo Cunha and attacking-minded wing-back is how you replace Højlund, Rashford, Garnacho, Antony, Sancho. On top of that, I think we need 2 midfielders. Realistically, we're only going to get 1, so I'll upset the 1. I think we probably need a wide-channel centre-back, and we definitely need a goalkeeper. In my opinion, United need 7 signings this summer. Do I think we're going to make 7 signings? But I do. I think that's what we need. Joan Garcia, Diogo Costa, Lucas Chevalier. I mean, they would all be great. Realistically, the only one we could afford is Joan Garcia. I don't think we can afford more than 20 million on the goalkeeper. Are we following midfielders? We are following Edison, and someone messaged me about a player, and I wasn't familiar with this player the other day. So the name slipped my mind, but it was a young player that we had a look at. I'll have to go through my messages. That there might be a player we might be linked to in a few days, but it was a very obscure player. But right now, the only midfielder we've been credibly linked to is Edison. We like Wharton, but it's not seen as realistic. We did have some interest in João Gomez of Wolves last season. I'm not sure what the situation is with that. I don't think we can get 2 Wolves players in one window. But yeah, there's some interest in a few players. Anyway, let's continue into some more news and stories. But I just wanted to touch upon Mbeumo because, look, Mbeumo's the dream. Mbeumo and Cunha in one window, look, I'm not convinced. I'm not super excited about the future and, Ineos and Glazers here. But Cunha and Mbeumo's the start. But it's not Cunha, yay, let's get giddy, and we don't sign anyone else. I need to see that we're serious this summer. Man United let us down. Ineos let us down this summer. I said, look, the club's a mess. It's probably going to take 3 years to undo the mess the Glazers made. But Ineos need to show us something this summer. Ineos really need to show us something this summer. So getting Cunha and getting Mbeumo early, that's the start. But I want a midfielder, I want a goalkeeper, I want a striker, I want another wing-back. That's what we want to see. We want to see Man United acting. So it has come out and been said that Matheus Cunha will soon be a Manchester United player. Medical is reportedly scheduled. So let's get back into some Cunha news and stories. Ooh. Okay. One sec. Let me actually get back into the chat. Shame David linked elsewhere, mostly Syria. It's a shame we haven't gone for Jonathan David. I really don't understand it. Someone said Jamie Vardy over in Remo. Surely you're not being serious. Surely you're not being serious. Andres Santos pressing. Real Betis ready to seal deal 40 million. I think it's about 32 million, but Real Betis don't want to pay that. So I think the most we'll get out of Betis for Antony is 30 million. I think if we want 40 million, we're looking at Atletico Madrid. Yeah. Ederson would be a beast in the Prem. He was so good at the Super Cup versus Madrid. If we sell Agate, Ederson's good, but we definitely need a midfielder that's progressive. We need a controller type midfielder. That's the only thing. Someone that can progress the ball because we lack in build up. Let Cunha join. No Mbeumo, please. Why are people saying no to Mbeumo? I feel like Mbeumo it's pretty privileged in football because he's bald and he looks old. I feel like people don't rate Mbeumo. You know how like people wouldn't like. Do you know like when I was younger, and people used to think this player was good and that player was so good because they had like pace on FIFA or they were good on FIFA, but actually in real life the players were just crap. They had good FIFA cards. And then there were some really good players that have crap FIFA cards. I feel like Mbeumo, I don't know what his FIFA cards like. I haven't played FIFA in years. But I feel like because he's bald and he looks old, I feel like he gets underrated for it. I can't explain it. It's like a bit of pretty privilege. I guess he's at Brentford. Like if he was getting 20 goals at Arsenal, the talk around him would be like Arsenal fans would be asking him to be in a Ballon d'Or conversation. Do you know what I mean? Anana linked with Ten Hag. I mean, look, Eric Ten Hag could do us a favour and buy Anana for 50 million for Leverkusen. That'd be great. That would be great. Osimhen's a must. We ain't getting Osimhen. If we'd have won the Europa League, I think there's a chance we could get Osimhen because we could pay his wages, but we won't. We won't get him now. Unless Osimhen really wants United, it would come on less than 200k a week. There's no chance. Someone said personal terms between United and Cunha aren't even finalised yet. Says Matthew. Well, Romano said it's here we go and it's been finalised. So, you know, that's what we've been said. If Romano wouldn't say here we go, if Man United and Cunha hadn't been pretty much finalised, would he? He wouldn't risk his rep for that because Man United fans wouldn't forget. A lot of people talk about Richard Rios. He looks like a decent player, but I've not watched a load of him. With Mbeumo and his cross into the box. Osimhen, look, if Man United got Mbeumo, Osimhen and Cunha, bring on next season. But Osimhen is just so unrealistic. Like even Mbeumo and Cunha feels like a dream because of the finances, but I think because we're losing Garnacho, that's Mbeumo covered on top of Cunha. Even that feels like a dream. So like Osimhen or Gyökeres on top of that, it feels unrealistic, but it would be a dream. Mbeumo could be reliant on sales. That's the problem. With Mbeumo, we want him, we like him, it's a bargain deal, we're having talks, the player is open, but so many teams are in for Mbeumo. We've just brought Cunha. We may need to sell someone before we get Mbeumo. A little bit like Elise. We thought we were going to get Elise. Elise communicated he was open to United. We missed out on Elise. Do you remember? We missed out on Elise because we had to sell. So that's the question with Mbeumo. But United almost like they know they have to move quick for a change. So who knows? He's very underrated. He's a very, very good player. Yeah, so let's get into the Cunha news and stories. Bear with me here. So, Matheus Cunha could travel to Manchester this week for a medical. United still need to make a formal approach to Wolves. The 62.5 million clause is to be paid in 3 instalments. That was also said by Sami Mokbel just before Chris Wheeler. And the club hopes to finalise the deal by the end of May. So it may end in, 5 days? Look, the goal for Cunha is it's basically done. The lawyers are just reviewing final details of the contract. Man United have basically got a verbal agreement with Wolves of how much they will pay over 3 years. Once, the lawyers are there, it can be actually finalised and Cunha can have his medical. He could be announced as a Man United player and bish, bash, bosh. But look, Romano said that here we go. The game is expected to happen. There's a story about Gyökeres, but it's not come out from anyone reliable. The deal for Cunha is expected to happen. Mbeumo is... Like, I don't know with Mbeumo. Like, I know we're going to get Cunha unless something mad happens. I don't know so much about Mbeumo, but I know Mbeumo for 50 million. The fact he's open to Man United, moving Man United going for him, there's a chance about Mbeumo. There's a big chance about Mbeumo. We'll talk about Antony. We will talk about Rashford. A lot of people talk about Mateta. I think it will be very difficult to get Crystal Palace players with them in Europe. Yeah. So yeah, let's have a look. Are we looking at Jonathan David? I believe not. I wish we were. And Mbeumo's underrated. He is. I still think Newcastle will go through Mbeumo. I don't know what Newcastle are doing. They haven't done anything in the last 3 windows. I don't know what they're doing, but I feel like they're moving in silent. I feel like Newcastle are moving in silent. I don't know. I feel like they're planning something. They've lost out on Cunha, but they've got UCL football. Something tells me. All I'm going to say is Dorgu left wing back, Ahmad right wing back, Cunha, Delap, Bruno, and then another midfielder coming in, and that is our front seven. Like that, like Cunha and Mbeumo, Delap front three, Dorgu and Ahmad at wing backs, Bruno and deep mid. Get a proper midfielder to go next to Bruno. That is a very good team, by the way. That is a very, very good team, by the way. But we haven't gotten Mbeumo yet. We can only keep dreaming and all of that, but we haven't gotten Mbeumo yet. We might not get Mbeumo, but that would be good. Delap's reps are in Newcastle today. That's what I want to talk about Delap now, actually. I do want to talk about Antony. I do want to talk about Rashford. But I want to just talk about this BS journalism on Delap. So obviously this morning there was news coming out that Manchester United are favourites to land Delap. Lunchtime it comes out that Chelsea have now overtaken Man United in the race for Delap because they can offer him Champions League football. Today, in the last 24 to 48 hours, we've got about 6 stories that keep changing from Man United are leading the race to Delap to Chelsea are leading the race for Delap. Okay? I just think the media know that Delap's going to make a decision, know that Ornstein will probably drop in the next 2 days that Delap's chosen this club, and they're putting a guess in so then they can say, yeah, I got this information 2 days ago before Ornstein. I think the media just guessing. I don't know. Like, they keep saying he might choose this, he might choose that. Do you remember this time last year when we'd won the FA Cup and some sources were saying Ten Hag's definitely been sacked, other sources were saying Ten Hag's safe? Like, you know how the media kept saying 1 minute Ten Hag sacked, 1 minute Ten Hag safe? They didn't have a clue. They didn't have a clue until Romano Ornstein broke it. It was almost like they wanted to try and break the story first or guess the story. I said this with Delap. Every few hours, there's a new report saying Delap favours United. Then another saying he favours Chelsea. So make up your mind. Does he favour United? Does he favour Chelsea? Because then when you actually go and read these reports, it's like, I assume Delap would favour Chelsea. So you don't know. You're just saying you believe from what you've heard Delap will favour Chelsea. So the media almost try and make it like Delap's going to choose Chelsea, Delap's going to choose Man United. But actually, when you read the reports in more detail, it's just an opinion. Though Delap might like Man United more, he might like Chelsea more. Man United believe they can get Delap. Okay, but let's be honest. You don't know right now where Delap is going. Not a single journalist knows right now where Delap is going. And Ornstein will break it, Romano will break it, let's be honest. Because right now, Delap is in Newcastle. Delap's been to Manchester, had a look round Manchester. Delap's been to Everton, or Liverpool technically, had a look round. So Delap's had a look round Everton, Delap's had a look round Man United, Delap's had a good look round Chelsea, and now he's having a look round Newcastle. Delap isn't going to make a decision until he's discussed with Newcastle, Everton, Man United, Chelsea, and weighed out his option. Look, Delap could make a decision tomorrow, but at the earliest, Delap isn't making a decision tomorrow. So the media is saying 1 minute, he's, look, Man United the favourites, 1 minute Chelsea the favourites, but that's just a bit of guess. That's just a bit of guesswork because he's not made a decision. I don't think anybody knows who is the favourites. I just think they're going off the fact that, well, he does have relations to Manchester and would like to go back to Manchester because he grew up there. But then he does want to play European football. But then he does want game time and he wants Delilah. At Man United, you're going to get game time. Højlund's crap. But at Newcastle, you're probably going to get more stability. And as a young striker, you can learn from Isak. And Isak, has to miss a few games here and there. But you're not guaranteed to play a lot with Isak there. I get it. Whereas with Chelsea, you've got Champions League football, but you have Chelsea a bit like Man United. It isn't very stable, but also Jackson's a lot better than Højlund. Chelsea fans might not like Jackson, but it's like, so if you want stability, go to Newcastle. If you want game time guaranteed, go to Manchester United. If you want European football, go to Chelsea. Like, that's the gist of it. If you want to succeed, go abroad. But I feel like we're getting told a story every day on Delap. And I don't really care. I like Delap. I prefer Gyökeres. I prefer Osimhen. I want Delap now because I know we're not going to get Osimhen or Gyökeres. So I would like Delap. We're not going to get Osimhen, Gyökeres or Jonathan David, so I'd like Delap. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, he isn't in my top 3. But we just get like BS story here, BS story there. He could be the next Evan Ferguson. He could be the next Harry Kane. If Manchester United had Alexander Isak playing up top for us, I'd be all over getting Delap because we'd be in a position to take a risk on a striker that could be the next Evan Ferguson or the next Harry Kane. But we've got Højlund up top. We can't take risks on a striker. Newcastle can. Jackson's better than Højlund. Chelsea can. I like Delap, and this could be the best 30 million we've ever spent, but it's a risk. Now, if you bring in Mbeumo and you bring in Cunha, because they're both proven goal scorers who can both play striker if we really need, we can afford to take a risk on Delap if we get both Cunha and Mbeumo. I believe we can take that risk on Delap if we get both from Cunha and Mbeumo, because Cunha and Mbeumo are proven goal scorers in the league. I do, but I still think if there's a chance of getting Gyökeres, you go for it. Like Liam Delap, probably 6th on my striker list, but with Cunha and Mbeumo, I'm open for it. But it's a massive risk, and we definitely need a proven striker. But he's not made a decision yet. He might tomorrow, but he's not yet. And I just think the media are just lying. Thank you very much for the super chat, Newcastle fan from the USA. I love the channel. Appreciate that. What's the Newcastle fan base like in the USA? Is it big? Has it got a big following in the US? Delap doesn't fill me with confidence, especially walking into our situation. Exactly. You have to, and Bruno actually said it in the interview yesterday. I don't know if you watched Bruno's interview after the Villa game yesterday, but he said something about Man United playing better because there was less pressure. There's a lot of players that can't do it at Manchester United because they can't handle the pressure. Like we've learned, Antony isn't a bad player, but Antony struggled under the pressure. I don't think Højlund is as awful as he's been playing, but he can't cope with the United pressure. There's a different level. You have to have a certain mentality to play for Manchester United because we're a crap team that expects to win, which puts this ridiculous pressure on people that aren't good enough. You know, Kane was something else that's insult comparing Delap to him. What I'm saying is, Delap in the future, he could be the next Harry Kane because he's an English striker. He could be the next Harry Kane, or he could be the next Evan Ferguson. I'm not comparing him to Harry Kane in terms of he's anything like Harry Kane now. But I'm saying that like he's seen as potentially being the next Harry Kane because Delap has just turned 22. So in the 2015-16 season, Kane was the same age as Delap in the 2015-16 season, and that was Kane's breakout season where he got 25 goals in the Premier League, or was it the season before? I think maybe it was the season before. So when Kane was about Delap's age, he sort of had his breakout season in 14-15. In 14-15, Kane, I think, had his breakout season when he was the same age as Delap. But Kane's breakout season was 21 goals. Delap got 12. But when Kane was 21, a year younger than Delap, he got 3 Premier League goals. But look, I'm not saying that Delap is going to be anything like Harry Kane, but there's 2 ways of looking at it. The hype around Delap is astonishing to me. Barely lasted 90 minutes a game with Ipswich, always subbed off. 3-4 decent games, now rated the next big thing. Like, I like Delap, but he's definitely a little bit overhyped. I think it's because he's 30 million. There's a decent striker that's English, that has good potential, that's got 12 goals in the Premier League for 30 million, and everybody needs a striker. And Sesko's really overrated and 70 million. Akite apparently is going to be 85 million. You know, Jonathan David's for free and nobody wants him. When Jonathan David is better than Delap, I don't understand that. You know, you've got Gyökeres and Osimhen, but they've got crazy wages. Nobody, like, I feel like there's just a lack of number 9s. Everybody wants Alexander Isak. Nobody's going to get Alexander Isak. He is at Newcastle. I think if you're Newcastle, Delap is the perfect guy because you can take that risk and he can learn from Isak. But I think if you're Man United, it's such a risk. It's such a risk. Like, I like Delap. And if we sign Cunha and Mbeumo, I'm very happy with Delap. Because Cunha and Mbeumo's 20 goals, Cunha's 16 goals. Cunha and Mbeumo bring 16 Premier League goals. So I'm happy with Delap. But yeah. Like, I'm not going to be mad if we sign Delap. Like, if we'd have won the Europa League and we'd signed Delap and we turned down Gyökeres for Delap, I'd have big questions. But we can't get Gyökeres realistically now. We can't get Osimhen realistically now. I don't know why we're not going for Jonathan David. Maybe we just got no chance. So we can't be mad at Delap. Like, he's a good player, and I think it could be a good signing. It's just a risk. Like, I have no negativity if Man United signed Delap. I wish him well. It is just a risk. It is just a risk, and I just would rather us go for someone more experienced. I think when I've watched Delap, I've liked him. I don't think he's bad. I think some people overhype him. I think some people make him sound out like he's crap. I think he's a decent player with decent potential. It's just a risk. Anyway, let's continue on into some more news and some more stories. Because if we want to afford Delap, Cunha and Mbeumo, we need to sell players. So we've got some updates on Antony's sale. Betis, Atletico Madrid, and Juventus are interested in signing Antony this summer. United are demanding 30 to 35 million pounds. I think we're going to get 30 million pounds for Antony, and I wouldn't have said that 6 months ago. I would have said take 20 million 6 months ago. It was that bad. And I want to give a round of applause to Antony for actually getting off his arse, and playing well and getting his value up. Middle finger to the Real Betis president who keeps saying, "Oh, we can't buy him. We're only do a loan." Shut up, pay up. He's worth it. He's got European football. You're only in the final because of him. Hopefully, he has a really good game versus Chelsea. Oh, what have I been sent? I've just been sent a weird video of McTominay there. We got a super chat. One sec. I'll get back into the topic. I just got a super chat. This is a very generous super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. Not a huge following in the US. Newcastle was one of the few teams on TV back in the early 90s, along with Liverpool and Man United. Loved watching Shearer and became a fan. Manchester United, Liverpool City, Chelsea, Spurs have a big following here. Thank you very much for the super chat. That's very kind of you. I think, a lot of the teams that are big in America probably were shown in the 90s a lot more on TV. So that's good to see. Man United always had a big following in America and India and China. But that's good to see. Appreciate the super chat there. Thank you for the information. But going back to this, there's 3 clubs interested in Antony. Betis, Atletico, Juventus. Betis don't want to pay up for Antony. They wanted to do another loan. They wanted to jam away into doing another loan off Man United. Now Betis have seen Atleti are interested and Juventus are interested, and Atleti and Juventus are willing to pay 30 million. This puts Betis in a position where they're going to have to pay 30 million. Betis are now realising, well, there's other people in for Antony. I think we should get 35 million. I think Betis, you ain't getting more than 30 million out. I think we can get 35 million for Antony, I do. I think with Juventus, I think with Atleti in, I think if he has a good game in the final versus Chelsea, I think we can get 35 million. For him. Betis is a push. I don't think you can get more than 30 million. But Betis, who wanted to mug Man United off and see if they can get another jammy loan, have realised, well, we're going to have to pay up for Antony now. And they know it's not easy, and they know it'll be a big transfer for a club like that. But the fans love him. If he has a good performance in the final and he scores a winning goal and they win the final, there's a lot of pressure because I believe that they are in the Europa League next season. Betis will be in the Europa League next season. Decent-ish money. I think that could get him out. So, I think we can get money for Antony. Look, if we were Manchester City and in a good loan, they'd probably get 40 to 45 million. But we're Manchester United. We're desperate. He's on high wages. Beggars can't be choosers. I think Antony's loan has made his value about 40 million. But it's Man United. They know we need to sell him. I think we can get 35 million for him. I think we definitely get 30. I think we can push 35 million for Antony. Thank you very much for the super chat, Mark. If Amorim gets the players he wants / club can afford, how many games do you give him after 5-10 games? How many points is acceptable? It's difficult because Glasner started really badly for Palace, and look how we recovered it. He needed a little bit of time. I think for me, he gets to the November international break. And it's not about, results is important, but it's are we seeing performances? He gets to the November international break. For me, because look, he lost the final. We got it tactically wrong. He's made mistakes, Amorim. I give him to the November international break with the signings. And if we're 15th and the November international break hits, he's probably got to go because let's assume we have Mbeumo, we have Cunha, and we have good players in, and we spent a load of money. He's not the guy, If we're looking at 6th at the November international break, and we'll take that. We're looking at 9th, but we're 1 point off 4th. 100%, you take that. But if you're looking at 15th, 16th below, that's bad. It might take a couple months for Amorim to make it click, but Amorim, because it's been so bad since he's come into United, hasn't given him those couple of months. Had Amorim won the Europa League, we'd have finished 8th this season and he'd got our season somewhat back on track. And, I think he would have brought himself to after Christmas. But I think because of the way this season's ended, he's got to November. I think, and if it's bad, I think he'll go. Whereas I think had he won the Europa and had we finished in the top 10, I think he would have got himself maybe a season. Mbeumo is a dream. Gyökeres, but let's get Mbeumo. My dream is and Gyökeres, same. And Mbeumo is a Mane or Salah regen. Honestly, I think Mbeumo was the guy that would be the Salah replacement if Liverpool had sold Salah this summer. I honestly think that. There was talk of Bowen, but Mbeumo is more of a Salah replacement. Villa are not taking Rashford. It's believed not. Without Champions League football, it's believed that Rashford will not go to Aston Villa. Barcelona have interest in both Luis Diaz and Rashford. It will be easier to get Rashford because United want to sell. But Liverpool are apparently open to selling Diaz, which, surprises me, but they believe they can get better, which is fair. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate all the nice comments. Still can't fully comprehend how low we finished. Even Ragnick got the last Europa League spot. I know. Do you remember when we were raging that Ragnick had finished sixth when we got the Europa League and it was the worst season ever? Honestly, the standards of this club have just gone where, I'm not gonna lie, if we finish sixth next season, I'll be somewhat happy. It's not good enough for Manchester United, but it's not 16th. Every year finishing sixth is a disgrace. It's an embarrassment. But because we're 15th, finishing sixth next season is the goal. The goal they gave Ruben Amorim next season is finishing the top six. Can you believe that? What's happened to this club? Finish in the top six. It should be in the title race every year. Third place, fine. We've gone from scraping top four to making it a good season to now scraping top six. At least fifth place gets you Champions League. But yeah, the standards have gone low, haven't they? They have gone low. It was said that Lamens and Leicester's Mads Hermansson are among those United have watched this season. But it might be difficult to sell Onana, which limits what United can do in the keeper market. Right now, Vanja Milinkovic-Savic is the most credibly linked goalkeeper to United. James Ducker of The Telegraph said that because of Casemiro's huge salary, United would like to ideally get him off the wage bill. Despite him being important, United would like to get Casemiro off the wage bill and bring in a younger midfielder. Ruben Amorim likes Casemiro. Ruben Amorim, from what I've heard, wants to keep Casemiro next year, but Ineos don't because of his wages. So that will be an interesting one to see how it develops because Casemiro is apparently happy to stay and Ruben Amorim is happy with Casemiro now. As you can see, Agarty's on the bench the last 2 games. Agarty's just sat on the bench the last 2 games. Maybe he wants Agarty gone. Who knows? But Casemiro is he likes, but Ineos want Casemiro gone because of his wages. Apparently Man City are advancing on a deal for Reinders. Yeah, Reinders will be a good deal for City. That does make me a little bit jealous. In terms of other stories, United want to offload more players this season than ever before. They're not in a European competition, so they can cut the squad down massively. Apparently Man United are planning a massive overhaul. What do you think will happen to Agarty? I'm not sure. He didn't play a minute, unless he's injured. If Agarty's fully fit and he didn't play a minute in the final, he didn't play a minute yesterday versus Villa, and he didn't really play versus Chelsea, that says to me, Amorim is done with Agarty. I thought Agarty was quite good at first when Amorim came in, but I think he struggled. I thought Agarty under Ruud van Nistelrooy and Amorim's first 10 or 15 games was good. I thought he was really good in the City game and the Arsenal game, but I think his limitations on the ball are starting to show. Look, if Agarty's not injured, there could be question marks around his future because he's not played the last 3 games. But he's also not brought Collier on, and I would have liked to have seen Collier come on. It's disappointing that we've not seen Collier really. Man United have a 40 million price tag on Rashford. Do you think we'll get that? Yeah, 40 million for Rashford is a bargain. If Barcelona reject getting Rashford for 40 million pounds when he is literally perfect for them, he is in his prime, he's a top player. This is the problem. If Marcus Rashford was at Manchester City, even if he had an argument with Pep, would get 60 million for Rashford. But because of the state that Manchester United is in, because we just pile it all on one player, bring a player down, we undervalue our players. Rashford has to go. McTominay, I got what we get rid of him. But if McTominay was a Man City player, they're getting 40 million. If Rashford's a Man City player, they're getting 60 million. But we almost underrate our players so much. And, Rashford gets so much stick from this fan base that there's this now PR around Rashford that he's nowhere near as good as he actually is. Marcus Rashford is better than Nico Williams. He's got less PR. I'm going to tell you that now. Marcus Rashford is better than Pedro Neto. Marcus Rashford is better than most Premier League wingers. And people will say you're chatting out your arse, Alice. He is. He's been out of form. He's got bad PR around him, but we know what he offers. So Rashford for 40 million is unbelievable business, especially if he's willing to lower his wages to go to Barcelona. I believe we'll get 40 million for Rashford. I think 40 million for Rashford. He's 27. He's not even old. 40 million for Marcus Rashford, who got 30 goals in a single season for a crap Manchester United side, and he didn't even take penalties 2 years ago under Eric Ten Hag. And when he's on it, and when he's confident, and when he feels loved, is dangerous. And when he runs in behind, like that, I think that's such a good bargain. And people will disagree with me. People think I'm chatting out my ass. I think 40 million for Rashford is, if I'm Barcelona, I'm over that. I'm all over that. 100%. In fact, Chelsea, I'm surprised Chelsea aren't all over that. I think Chelsea have this thing where they like minors. Not minors, that makes them sound a bit weird. Chelsea have this thing where they like players that have to be 22 or under when they sign them. But I think Chelsea need a proven left winger, and Rashford's better than Sancho on the left. We've seen that at Man United firsthand. So, yeah, I think we'll get 40 million for Rashford. And people will think I'm chatting absolute shite. People will think, a lot of people are going to disagree with me in the chat. And I know he's been out of form. But we're talking about 40 million. Nico, people are talking about Nico Williams being a bargain at 43 million pounds. Rashford's better. You're talking look, the biggest bargain was Kvaratskhelia for 60 million? Is that it? I mean, Kvaratskhelia, I've always said it. I said this time last year when there was the Vinicius Ballon d'Or talk, I said Kvaratskhelia was better than Vinicius Jr. I said I would rather have Kvaratskhelia than Vinicius Jr. And Kvaratskhelia cost 60 million quid. So that was the biggest bargain on the winger market. That was an unbelievable bargain, wasn't it? But I think 40 million for Rashford. If we can get 35 million for Antony, great. And if Chelsea can pay 25 million for Sancho, great. Because then that would be 100 million for them three. You can get 60 million for Garnacho, probably 50 million now. We're looking at potentially 150 million for Sancho, Rashford, Antony, and Garnacho. So that's what we're looking at potentially. And that can go on Cunha and Mbeumo and hopefully a ready-made striker. Last but not least, AS Monaco apparently interested in signing De Gea, was said by Romano as well. Anyway, that rounds up all United news. Look, if there's any news coming out this evening, I will have a short 10-minute video out tonight to round up all the news in 10 minutes if we do get any big stories. Big up to everybody who watched today's show. Thank you for watching. Let me just make sure nobody else is live. See if there's anyone to redirect to. I'm going to redirect you to Saeed. All right, bear with me. Saeed's doing a show with Mina, and I think Nuruddin will be in there. So go check out Saeed's show. Let me add a redirect in. And look, I'll probably be back tonight with a 10-minute video or something, depending on the news. Go over and raid Saeed's channel. Thank you for watching. Bye.